From the lighter side of pest control, this is the Tales from the Crawl Space podcast.
Hello and welcome everybody to the old school of pest control episode for Tales from the Crawl Space. We're going to talk about how things were in the Stone Age. And hang on a second, let me shut this fucking thing off. All right. Okay. Hey, welcome everybody. And with us as always out in beautiful wherever the fuck Virginia. Jack, how's it going?
Hey, how are you guys today? I'm out here in bumfuck Egypt, Virginia. And the good thing is I just took my first walking tour of my new home on my birthday. So it was pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah, those videos were pretty great. Yeah. So it's like I told you, paradise in the making, man.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be to it. That's going to be great. And and a happy belated birthday to you as well.
Thank you.
And I hope you had a very stimulating and singeing evening last night.
It was kind of low key, which is kind of how I wanted it, but tonight will be different.
Outstanding.
I don't know if I really want a singeing evening with a lady. I think when it starts getting singeing, you need to go to the doctor and get you a prescription for something.
No, that's stinging. You know, singeing sometimes involves things like hot wax and
the nipples. Hot wax on the nipples.
Right on the nipples. Oh, you haven't lived until you've had one dropped in your innie.
Oh,
yeah.
A nipple dropped in your innie? What type of
that's exquisite. And also with us today, Dani. How's it going today?
I'm tired. Just had to work this Saturday, unfortunately, but that is okay. Sometimes you gotta work an extra day, kind of help out the company, and making some extra money today, so I can't complain too much.
There you go.
Yeah,
the spice must flow.
Glad to have you back, Dani.
Spice must flow.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna, Jack has a previous episode. Jack had promised us a little something, and so Jack, have at it.
All right, I have a message from my office manager Sue, who was present for the Beech Madafaka episode, the story that I told her for Christmas. So she sent me a voicemail, and I wanted to play it for everybody. Here we go.
Well, it's your birthday again. Jack Starry, the one, the only, the original Beech Madafaka. Happy birthday to you, Jack. I hope that you have an amazing 2023.
All right.
Thank you, Sue. Love you to death. Thank you.
Bless your heart, Sue. Hope you're listening.
and I'm working on getting Shelly, my office manager from my first Dani and Marie Pest Control Company, because her and I've got some really hilarious fucking stories working for that place. So
nice.
I'm working on getting her as a guest, on an upcoming episode soon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Speaking of working your butt off, Dani, I managed to put a 6-day weekend to 5 this week. We've got some, we typically don't do a whole lot of late night clean out stuff. We had 2 this week, and I've got another 2 after hours thingamajigs to do next week. So yeah,
that type of shit will kick your ass sometimes.
Yeah,
right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, working for a small family business, I mean, it's great. They're good people and everything. I said, but the one obligation of all these mom and pops is to make themselves look 50 times larger than they actually are. And sometimes that means working some extra hours and getting what's got to be done. So
covered a lot more ground than maybe you should be, but you got to make the numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, something like this, and I think the company I'm with now is going to benefit me in the future. I think it's going to, not only am I getting paid extra to be working today, but I think also in the future it's going to, they're going to take notice of that, and I'll be able to move up somewhere.
There you go. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I'd like to say that's how I kind of did it. Worked my ass off. They got noticing.
That's called sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's also, it's a good indicator of your work ethic too. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, we're talking about the way things were in pest control, old school. Different things. We asked, we put it out there on the my beloved Pest Control Humor Depot on Facebook, and as in typical fashion, you guys came through.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot of good stories, and Jack and I have been in the business since we were treating for dinosaurs next to Fred Flintstone. So we got some stories of our own too.
Yeah, back when Moses was practicing on baby pools.
That's right. Yeah, it's like parting the Red Sea. That was the only way to get the truck across to that last stop. So,
I want to start this off with a bang with a little funny one on a different page, not the glorious Humor Depot. This was from the Advice and Fun Pest Control page. A moderator there said, "Back in the day, we drank chlordane and pissed on the bugs to keep them away." That was Troy Ridings that said that. Thank you, Troy. I appreciate you chiming in.
That's right. That was back when the head of the EPA was Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't even need to drink chlordane. that guy pissed chlordane.
He just pissed on him.
That's right. Yeah. Chlordane is one of those things that if you get into a really old house that's the foundation and underneath it's been kept pretty dry, when you get in there and start jacking things around, you can still smell that shit. And it hasn't been applied in at least 40 years now.
I know they got rid of it because of urban renewal, because when they started tearing out foundations and putting new buildings up, they had contractors and stuff down there slogging around in chlordane-laced mud.
Yeah.
And the organophosphates, you cannot process that out of your system. Once it's in you, it's in you.
Yeah, actually, chlordane is a chlorinated hydrocarbon.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Terspan was organophosphate, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
That's my old brain there. So yes, that shit would not come out of your system. So
yeah, and there was a whole lineup of stuff. DDT, chlordane, Deldrin, and many others made that lineup. Only one is that I know of that we use is that still, I believe, underneath that chemical is the DDVP, Vapona.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can still find it out there with in foggable form, and also in the lovely Nuvan Pro strips for use for bedbug control. So it's still out there, just in a very limited measure.
Nuvan Vapona strips, man. I had for a while. I thought they got rid of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so did I. You're old enough, Jack. You're old as fuck. You're old enough to remember the Shell No Pest strips that they used to sell at the gas station. Had the the cardboard doodads and the yellow thing that was on the inside. And people would have them hanging up in their garages. They'd have them hanging up in their houses by the trash cans. They had them hanging up everywhere.
Oh
yeah. And you get enough of that stuff in you, you'll get the twitches.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to bring up here in a little bit. But I was just my favorite organophosphate, because every time I had ants at my house before I even got in pest control, I would go to Heckinger's. Now, if y'all live on the East Coast around the Mid-Atlantic, you know what a Heckinger's is. It's like it's the same quality as Menards is now. It's one of those hardware stores where people who actually did the fucking job worked in the department. So when you asked them a question, they knew what the fuck you were talking about. But diazinon. Remember diazinon?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, I tell you sprayed that shit once for ants. You didn't see ants for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I love that shit. And they banned that, back in 2009?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah.
I fucking love that shit, man. And
the thing about all this is most of the shit that's banned now, your DERS bans, your diazonons, your all that stuff, your oh shit, what's that shit that they used to fog mosquitoes with? in neighborhoods.
DDT.
It smelled like no. This is later. It smelled like malathion. Yeah, and always had that oniony smell. Us stupid ass kids would be following the truck, dancing around in the fog like like a bunch of idiots.
Covered in
yeah. Yeah, and then we're wondering why we get these things growing in us. So it's they're trying to do it on the thing of safety, but it's their own damn fault because they allowed everybody to use a lot of this shit.
So that's where that massive skin tag on my balls came from.
No, I think that might have came from a couple of encounters ago.
Oh yeah, well I tried to have it burned off, but
yeah,
You told me that was benign.
Yeah, so that was from your last date with that gymnast Katrina Papilloma.
Fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a couple of other things that we don't have a whole lot of access to anymore are the carbamates, and those things were the shit ski when it comes to killing larger roaches and stuff. Propoxer was among those, and it was in a product that I used to use called Larva Lure. And Larva Lure, I think I saw Larva Lure out, but it doesn't have the good stuff in it anymore. A large hospital in downtown Indianapolis was built on a foundation that had been around since about the Civil fucking War. Down in the radiology department, they had these tunnels, and they were basically plumbing chases. Well, one of the big drain pipes to one of the shitters up above had broken, just completely fell off, and so the shit was dumping into this tunnel. And it was right off of the radiology department down in their basement. I opened up the door, and I opened up another door, which was like this big wooden arch door. Open it up, and the entire arch is covered with American cockroaches. And so I slowly closed the door. I looked at the people, and I said, I'll be right back. Went out and got my jug of Larva Lure bait, and just scattered it out on that floor. And I come back a couple weeks later, and nothing was living. And that was the good stuff. Nowadays we have things like Niban G, which is boric acid. Boric acid is really good. This stuff is really good, but it takes forever to get control of. And we kind of had it made because we had the stuff that was killing fast. But the upshot of it is you see a lot more older bugmen running around nowadays.
Yeah, because they're not dead or growing extra limbs or something.
That's right, extra heads and shit. So,
hey, what was the carbamate that they use? The carbamate dust that they use for like wasps and hornets and stuff. What was the name of that stuff?
Ficam D.
The people got pissed when they got rid of that stuff.
I was among one of the pissed off guys.
Hell yeah,
yeah. I mean, because that stuff was doing murder on it. It wasn't really good for cockroaches. But I mean, you'd put that shit in a duster. You'd get up on a wasp nest or a hornet nest or yellow jackets or whatever. Yeah, it worked pretty damn quick.
Knocked the fuck out of them.
Yeah. I mean, the alternatives that we have now like tempo dust is what I use now for the stinging insects that Critter McCool can't. I don't want him to relocate, and it does a good job, but it takes longer.
I'm a dry own guy when it comes to that. I like dry own dust for nests like that.
Yeah, dry own. Tempo dust is a little bit milder on me than dry own. I have issues.
To get it all over you. What the hell?
Oh, fuck, Jack. Come on, let's be real here. Shit happens.
I know.
but yeah, and it's I physically tolerate tempo better than I do dry on. Both do a pretty good job.
Run out of gold bond, you got your testicles sticking to your leg and something like that. You got to use something to get it apart.
Yeah, make a little tempo dust gravy in there.
There you go.
I like the boric hair dust because it's a firming agent. You feel good and it kind of tightens them up a little bit. See, my balls don't look so old.
Yes. Rub a little on your anus and it'll be like before you went to high school.
Oh, what a pucker! What a pucker!
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
Yeah, I remember powerful control. I have good memories of it.
Yeah, I can't trust a fart anymore.
Hell no, dude. But but the products have changed. We go to our state conferences, and there's always that one guy from the state chemist's office saying, "Look, chloridane's gone, Elvis is dead. Get on with your life." And but it's not to say that everything's just dark clouds and gloom and doom. I mean, over the past decades, the chemical industry, the pest control industry, we've adapted and overcame. Termidor is probably one of the best examples of that. Here we have a non-repellent that could be used at an extremely low rate when you put it up against things like chloridane and chlorpyrifos and those type of chemicals, and it has less of an environmental impact, and it does the job a hell of a lot better and lasts a bit longer too.
Is that stuff still on patent, or did Termidor come off patent?
What?
Termidor, did that come off patent, or is it still patented?
I don't know if it's put on, if it is or not. But because I know Taurus is available. Taurus is basically Termidor with a smaller price tag.
So it did come off patent. I wasn't sure if it did. I know when I'm at a Clopra, it did. Everybody all the mom and pops jumped on the bandwagon of it's just like Premise, but it's like $10 a bag.
Yeah. Dani's not recording.
Let me see your dick.
Let me see your dick. I think that's what he's. I see that. I don't think that's a ceiling fan. I think he's actually doing the meat spin.
Oh, the helicopter penis.
Yeah. Impressive.
There's Dani.
There's Dani. All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right on. Turn off your camera.
It connected to my headphones that are across the room.
Okay.
Hot damn.
Yeah.
I'll just have to make sure I edit that part out.
Yeah, that'll work.
I'm just thinking with my dick.
Hey, okay, yeah, and chemicals have come a long way. Termidor is just one example. The other examples that we have are some of the baits that are out now for cockroach control. We didn't have the selection that we have now. Back when I started back in the day, I mean, we were going in with Termidor, or not Termidor, with Dursban LO, and dust, trying to get cockroaches knocked down. And usually the dust that we were using was either Dryon or Ficam, whichever came in on the truck. So, and again, Ficam wasn't my most favorite one, but Dursban LO had a decent knockdown, but the residual was shit. And just like most emulsibles, you can't put it on a porous surface and expect it to stay there. Not like the microencapsulateds and the suspensions that we have now, and of course wettable powders. But yeah, Dursban LO was great. I mean, I would use Dursban LO on a paper wasp nest and knock wasps down all day long.
Oh yeah.
So that's gone, and in its place are some really fine baits. If we're gonna, we could rattle off name brands. So we just won't talk companies, but my favorite jam right now is one called Vendetta Nitro. Vendetta just by itself is a really good bait, but Vendetta Nitro has the IGR in it. And we're committing mass slaughters of cockroaches with this stuff. Typically, what we do, we go in if we got a really gnarly one, we'll get in there with the vacuum cleaner and some Shockwave or an Actisol, and get it off on the right foot. Come back a week or two later, follow it up with a mass applications of bait in those hot spots, and it's taking care of business.
I remember when your only IGR choices was Gentrol for roaches, and what was the other one for fleas?
Precor,
Gentrol and Precor.
Yeah,
and then they came out with Nylar after that, which is linalool, and I never really had much luck with Nylar, but I love Gentrol.
Nylar reeks. Nylar, just a regular IGR without the linalool in it. It still stinks.
Yeah.
And but yeah, growth regulators have come a long way, and and of course the biggest weapon that we've had that's changed is the gray matter between the technicians' ears. The training that we're getting now is so much better, so much more comprehensive. it's turning us from a bunch of, for lack of a better term, I hate this fucking term, spray jockeys, into problem solving technical experts. And, so anybody that's been in the initial training and passed it is becoming a problem solver. Give yourself a pat on the back.
Hell yeah. Because you got to go in thinking about, environmental issues. Because if you're just spraying stuff, all you're doing is harvesting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You're not addressing the root of the problem, and you're just going to keep coming back. Your customer's going to get pissed off. They're going to cancel, lose the money off your route, and they're going to get pissed off at you for losing fucking customers.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with a mass slaughter on the initial service as long as you follow it up with something that's gonna finish them off and kind of keep them down, make it easier for you to manage.
Well, I'm always happier when I'm finished off. I know that for sure.
I know everybody, and I'm sure those that are finishing you off enjoy it just as much.
Oh yeah, that's pretty. It's looks like a Jackson Pollock painting.
Oh, I bet it does.
I mean, when you're getting paid,
Jackson Pollock painting. Wait a minute, Jack. If you're skeeting stuff that looks like bird shit, maybe you need to see a doctor.
Well, only when you hold a infrared light up afterwards.
Yeah, okay. There might be some coffee grounds in it, but
it's more like Pearl Drops toothpaste to the naked eye.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah. Chemicals were something that's really changed, and another thing that's changed is communication. The way we communicate with our customers, the way we communicate with each other, and to our home offices as well. When I first started, there were no cell phone. I mean, there were cell phones, but they weren't nearly as widespread and popular as they are now. And I mean, smartphones were just years and years away as well. We didn't have cell phones. But then we didn't have fucking beepers. And this was when I was working at the Big Green Tea. Basically, what we do is we were instructed to call the office every 2 hours for our messages, and we would have to write them down and take care of stuff. It wasn't back then there wasn't any of this. We're going to send a work order to your phone. There was no Pest Pack. There was no Gorilla Desk. There was none of this ticketing, invoicing, and routing software that we have now. So we basically did it through the seat of our pants. And one of the things that we still keep in practice at the business that I'm in, just as a fail safe, are books of route cards. Route cards are indispensable for when, maybe something happens, you have a printer malfunction or things like that. So, some of the old school things are kind of nice to have around, if only as a backup. Don't have to use it all the time, but in case the apocalypse, if the apocalypse come and society breaks down, you'll still be able to go out and kill bugs.
Oh yeah. A company I work for, out here in the Shenandoah Valley, not going to say the name because I can't really find a way to bungle it without really sounding like more of an idiot than I am. But they had the 3-ring binder route books, and the technicians would actually put their route together with the dividers for each day of the week, the work, and to be able to have their route kind of solidly in place and know where they were going, which made the best sense. If they had to move customers, they could move it to a different day and that would still be there. Just customer information pages, address issues, things like that. And yeah, so if I remember for some reason, I can't remember what it was, but our office was out of power for like 3 days. We couldn't print out route tickets or anything like that. So we were handing the guys blank tickets and their route books, and they were going out and never missed a beat.
Yeah. And it's the same with us still. I mean, if we have a printer malfunction, we print all the regular recurrent services. We print those out at the beginning of the month, and we're either using the dot matrix printer or we're using a laser printer. Because you still got those customers that I'm not going paperless. I got to have my ticket. Especially some of the smaller rinky dinks. Mama San and Papa San places are no, they're not going to give you the email. They went and they're going to pay you out of the cash register. So they need something to throw in that cash register to justify for the money that's missing out of it. And that's where that hard copy comes in. I know there's guys out there. I did it at 2 of the other jobs that I had where you have the little, thermal printer that either attaches to your belt or stays in the truck when you're
those little fucking receipt printers. Yeah,
I hated those things. I hate them to this day. We used to use them at Economics Labrador Retriever, and I hate them to this day. But one of the best parts, it was tough back then trying to communicate with your customers, with your office, with each other and stuff. But the upshot is you didn't have a cell phone or an Excel or anything. So if you're out in the middle of the day and the manager wants to chew on your ass for something, he's going to have to wait until you're done with the route.
Let him cool his ass off for a little bit.
Yeah, and anybody, and I'm just going to put this out there: anybody that calls their employees while they are out in the field trying to service customers, if they call them while they're out there to chew their ass about something, they need to think about how their leadership style, because that is 112% bullshit.
Total dick move.
Don't crush my groove when I'm out making your fucking money for you. Mm-hmm. And that's just been one of the biggest things that sticks in my craw. I could go out, I could be in a good mood, and the minute I get called about some fucking trivial minutia shit, I got a problem for the rest of the day, and it's on the back of my mind because I care about my performance in my job. And to have us going around with that shit in the back of our minds, where we're trying to perform excellent services for our customers, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's so very wrong.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Let me get off my soapbox here. Okay. We're good.
Talk about communication. I guarantee that the Big Green Tea is probably still in the dark ages with that DOS-based system that they used. And having to sit down on a landline and call all your customers in the
Mission.
Oh my God, I hate it.
I don't know what they're calling it. I don't know what they're calling it now, but it used to be called Mission.
Yep, that's exactly that's what it was when I was a service manager, and I never hit the tab button so many fucking times in my life.
I know, right? It's ridiculous. But I mean, and again, there is some improvement in it. So on the other hand, if you're out going somewhere, you're out going balls out, and you're out in the middle of the boondocks, and you hit a moose, right now you've got a way to get a hold of somebody to help you out.
Back then, it was just you and the moose.
That's right. It's you and the moose. If it's cold, you're gonna have to grab your knife and cut the cavity open in that moose, pull its guts out, and crawl in to stay warm.
And Luke Skywalker and Tauntaun that motherfucker.
That's right, exactly. And then but at least with the moose, you're gonna have some meat as well. So
yummy.
Yeah. So communication, it's improved, but at what cost? So.
Asshole managers. That's the cost.
Yep. And did you ever have to wear a tie, Jack?
When I worked for Poem Haramount, I had to wear a tie, and their damn uniforms looked like a fucking airline pilot. It was ridiculous.
Oh, brother.
It was miserable.
Yeah, when I first started at Big Green Tea, they had us in ties, and and every technician, once they got in their vehicle and they started on the route, would take that tie off.
As soon as you got out of the fucking parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going into an account where, maybe a machine shop or something, wearing a tie, for it to get caught in a lathe or a mill or something. If I'm getting too close to a treatment, I'm not going to go up and inspect an attic while wearing a tie, because if I fall out of the attic and the tie catches on something, it's time for a hanging. And, everybody's like, oh, yeah, well, there's clip-on ties. Well, I'm not going to wear a clip-on tie either, because that just makes me look like I was 5 years old and my grandma's getting me ready for church. Yeah,
just on principle, not
just on principle. Yeah. Yeah. You want me to wear it in the office? I kept a clip-on in my truck. It went on when I got it, walked into the office, and it came off when I left. And,
right.
Yeah, because that was just ridiculous. Fortunately, most of the pest control companies out there right now have discontinued the tie as a tire, and I don't think our customers gave two shits when we got rid of the ties.
No, I don't think they noticed. I had a problem with ties because I'm not a pencil neck. I got one of those big, thick German women's shot put team necks, and they never had shirts that I could actually button without losing oxygen.
Yeah.
So I had to keep it unbuttoned and put the tie on, and it still looked like dumpy shit. So there I am walking around looking all casual, and button that collar. I can't get it around my fucking neck, man.
All right. Yeah, no kidding. And yeah, a day in and the way we do things now has changed so much. Not only with the way with the way we're dressed and the products that we use and stuff. I mean, just our actual service techniques. A day in the life of a Big Green Tea residential tech back in the early 1990s was you go to the account, you pull your B&G out, you've got your little bellows duster full of FICAM, you got your Dursman LO, you go in, you soak down all their baseboards, shoot some dust inside their wall voids underneath their sinks, and then you go outside and you grab a Centra bulb duster that has the tip cut off of it, and you fill it full of Dursman granules, and you just go out in their bushes and it just shoot a bulb duster's worth of granules around their house, and that was the service. Every single house we did. I would go out and I would run 15 to 20 houses a day, going out there doing the and making their house reek of Dursman. And don't get me started on dust in the wall voids. We were told to do that every month. This stuff has a 6-month residual, and we're on monthly services. After about 2 or 3 years, those wall voids got to be full, man. It's like they tear the wall, they tear the drywall out, and all this fucking dust comes rolling out.
Well, there's that other company that puts those tubes in the wall.
Yes,
that's a lovely idea. That's the most ridiculous fucking idea I've ever seen.
Fuck me, what were those called? Insiders.
There's the insiders, which you can pop them through the drywall, and you get assholes that put them in and drill through a water line or electric line or something. But there's a company out there. It's the Away Team Pest Defense, and they had that TAEX system that they partnered with Lennar Homes, and they called themselves the third largest pest control company because they were using the earnings of home sales because they were part of Lennar Homes as their revenue. And they'd put it in, and then they'd sell you the service like a week after you got moved in. And it was these little perforated tubes that these guys would install through all the studs around the house. Now, I have to ask you, if I'm outside the house with this little injector nozzle at this little brown football looking thing poured on the outside of the house, and I'm putting pressurized material through, how far down that continuously perforated tube do you think I'm actually going to get pressure?
Right.
And on top of that, if you have your walls insulated to your house, all I'm doing is pissing on your insulation 3 foot off the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
So that one little spot insulation, there's no fucking bugs on that.
No.
For about 10 foot down from where the little port is on the outside of the house, but that's all you're getting. It's just it's a bullshit service.
Oh yeah. Now to your last to an earlier point, as far as using drills and busting, I never used to drill when I installed an insider. For the Big Green Tea. I had one of those little those little stubby Phillips screwdrivers, for close quarters and stuff. I would have one of those. And I would take it and I'd just give it a couple of twists up against the wall on the drywall. And then once I broke the paint and that first course of paper, I just took the butt of my thumb or butt of my hand and just knocked it clear. It cleared the wall. I'm not going to bust a pipe. I put the insider in. I do my thing. I get on with my life. And
I think the Big Green Tea that I worked for, when they used those, one guy was knocking them like that. And ended up popping a big ass hole in the wall. And back when I was there, Big Green Tea had to do damage claims. Yeah. Had to pay for damage claims. And I used to get a gift card from the fucking handyman that fixed all these damage claims because I had a bunch of guys that kept fucking shit up. So I had to keep calling him, and he'd send me like $100 gift card every Christmas because I was giving him so much business.
Oh, wow. Nice. No kidding.
Oh, that's a heavy pour. I hear that one.
Oh, yeah. That's tonight's podcast is brought to you by Woodinville Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Chris is a Christmas gift from my dear sister-in-law, Kelly. Thank you, Kelly. You're not fucking listening, but thank you anyway. This is the private select from the Great Lakes Barrel 3954, and this is bottle number 66, and it stands at 120.52 proof. And for such a high proof, bourbon, it is surprisingly smooth.
Surprisingly smooth.
You're not going to not have a bite with something that high of a alcohol content, but it's a lot less than you'd expect, and it finishes off really nice. It's got a good sharp flavor, just a touch of sweetness. Woodinville Straight Bourbon Whiskey Private Select. I recommend it.
We're gonna have to get you on your own TikTok channel rating bourbons. That would be awesome.
Oh, I know. It's like, me and my office guy Schultzy. Damn, we could tear that up.
Hell yeah, we get that shit started. We could do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now I know back in the day when I started pest control back when Jesus was in diapers. I started out doing termite work, and the guy that I was trained by had been doing it 13 years prior to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he taught me a lot of old school stuff. He was doing it back, when chlordane was a thing. Yeah. But the guy I really learned a lot from was a guy named Dave Pearson, who worked for the Big Green Tea, and he had actually owned his own company down in Annapolis and sold to the Big Green Tea, and he kept working with them.
Mm-hmm.
Dave was about 65 when I worked with him, and he'd been doing it since he was 20. Ooh. And he told me about the old days where the guys had to get their blood tested like every quarter to see the level of chemical in their system, because their body wouldn't process it out. And if you weren't careful about what you were doing, you guaranteed yourself an early retirement, because they wouldn't renew your license if your blood test failed.
Yeah,
if you reached a certain level.
That.
But I started doing termite back in the day where it was before we had Termidor, and we were using either Prevail or Premise, and you had to drill the full exterior. It will drill the stoop and the garage and like the back patio, and trench the rest of it. And then you had to drill the full basement, 10 foot to either side of the sump pump and 15 to either side of the cistern, if there was a cistern. And you also had to double void the block. So you were treating the block walls, you were treating the full interior of the slab, and you were treating the full exterior. And if you had a well on the property, we actually had to do a coliform test on your well before we started treating, because they didn't want the stuff to leach into the well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you failed your coliform test, we couldn't do the job, because we couldn't put that much chemical, because we're doing 4 gallons for every 10 linear foot per foot to depth of footer with a maximum of 4 feet. So potentially 16 gallons for every 10 linear feet. And you're dumping, like big houses, you're dumping a lot of fucking chemical inside and out around this damn house. Those were the days, man. I know that I had 200 gallon tank on that truck, and I would use every bit of that shit on some houses.
Oh yeah. We were pumping a lot of shit back in the day.
Oh hell yeah,
a whole lot of shit. And it just kind of boggles my mind how far we've come in in backing off of what we use. Even the guys that are doing fucking even the quote unquote baseboard jockeys are still using a hell of a lot less, and if they're mixing it to label in their finished spray than ever was the case back in the day. So
sometimes you need some Phantom Plus.
Yeah, it's Phantom Plus. That's right. the lovely Phantom Plus. So
Termidor, they moved to something called EPLIT for a while, didn't they? It was an exterior perimeter with limited interior treatment. So like you did 5 foot to either side of the incident and the full exterior, and that was it.
Yeah, they did, but you know what? I'm not on board with that.
No, neither am
I. Termidor on the inside is really bad, because fipronil, as it breaks down, becomes something that's even 10 times more, toxic than its original form, which is why we can't spray it. That's why it can't be applied inside.
Right.
It's got nothing to do with politics. It's got nothing to do with who's butter and whose slice of bread. And that's what it is. When it breaks down, it gets ugly in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that we haven't said the word orthene yet in the first 40 minutes of the show. We haven't mentioned orthene at all.
Well, that's because orthene still exists.
Well, yeah, but I tell you, the good shit that's lasted that long, it's good for a reason.
Yep, that's right. Orthene is a damn good thing, inside and out. It's actually really good to use on ornamentals and stuff because it's a systemic. I mean, you apply it, it actually gets into the plant itself, and does the trick. Nothing I would want to put on vegetables, of course, but
No.
if you've got some shit getting ate on other stuff, a shot of Orthene, it's going to do the trick.
Hell yeah. Love that shit. Smells like ass. Love it, though.
Oh, it smells like dirty diapers after a kid has eaten a bunch of Gerber carrots.
Oh.
Yeah.
That reminds me, a little. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No.
you ever have one of those when you had your kid? Did you have a diaper genie?
No, I had a trash can.
Are you familiar with diaper genies?
I am familiar with diaper genies. It's got this giant anus at the top that you shove the diaper in.
Yes, it's the best home defense weapon you'll ever find because if you're, going out to take your trash out and someone tries to assault you, all you have to do is swing a large, long chain of rancid diapers above your head.
That's right.
No one's going to get near you.
Yeah.
It smells like Orthene.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and God forbid if you smack them and that bag ruptures.
Oh,
that's even better.
Danny, you doing okay? Where you at? I think Danny left us.
Danny did leave us. Danny's been having some serious technical difficulties, folks, and so hopefully we can get him back on before we close everything out.
Yeah.
For one thing, I need a mating call.
Oh, of course we do.
After a week like I've had, Jack, I've got to get a mating call.
Yeah, you got to rub one out for a little stress relief.
Exactly. So hey, why don't we rub some of these the Pest Control Humor Depot entries out, and so let's give them some shouts. We'll start off with fellow member of the Mod Squad and the Pest Control Humor Depot Minister of Minutia, Dan Bird. He goes, Dan Bird. Yeah. Dan Bird has a story. It's a secondhand story. He asked if that was okay, and we said, by all means. So let's go. Dan Bird says, my first boss when he was 18 was doing some termite work. Left the lid of the cauldron, as he calls it, at a job by accident. I'm assuming the cauldron would be the tank for the rig. Uh-huh. And the tank was full of finished product. Trying to drive very carefully, someone cuts him off, and he had to slam the brakes. And he wore 50 gallons of chlordane back to the office.
Jesus.
He said he was in one of those free candy vans and had no separation between the front and the back. I made a questions here, Jack.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor. First off, you're trying to. He left the lid of the cauldron in a job by accident, and he still got a full tank of finished product.
Where would you put that lid anywhere but the truck if you're filling up on site? Where would
I know if you've got one of those Buffalo Bill vans, and you're where would you put it? Would you put why would you even put it outside? I don't know.
Playing frisbee with it? What the fuck are you doing?
Right. This is obviously more than 30 or 40 years ago, so I guess that question belongs to the ages. This is that's not good. I would say that, I had a situation where I wore a bunch of product and it jacked me up a little bit. I was out doing a perimeter treatment at a food plant in Indiana, and I was using Tempo I was using Demon wettable powder in my power spray.
Oh,
no, this place had an issue of occasional invaders, and we had to mean business, so we broke out the demon. We summoned the demon, and I'm out there doing the perimeter treatment, and all of a sudden my sprayer just goes, just a trickle. It's like my 83-year-old dad could piss farther than this thing was at the time. Ooh. So I get back to the truck. And unfortunately, it's not one of those where I had a remote at the tip where I could shut the pump on and off at will, which would be really nice. And I get back there, and I blew a hose, and this shit's spraying everywhere. The only way for me to shut this rig off is to climb in there and get to the switch. Well, I got soaked. In Demon wettable powder. I mean, from my shoulders down to my knees, I was soaking wet, and
were you cherry red for a while after that?
No, but I was shaking like a oof.
Oh,
I was shaking like a blind gigolo at a weenie roast.
That shit makes me break out like cherry red if that shit gets on me.
Yeah. This shit, it didn't mess with me at my skin, but once it got under my skin, that's when the fun started. So basically I was told to hydrate and Benadryl, and I did, and I got over it. But I don't ever want to do that again. But yeah, I mean, even nowadays, this stuff's bad news when you get it on you. So
fuck yeah.
Glove up. I mean, we didn't even wear gloves back in the day. And so yeah, glove up, you cheese bags.
Yeah, I know. I didn't do it with termite work when I first started. I didn't even have the fucking gloves.
Yeah. So our next, that was Dan Bird. Thanks a lot for your contribution to this, man.
Thank you, Dan.
Let's talk about Jerry Anthony. Jerry Anthony is apparently a technician that's been at it since 1999, and Jack, he looks like he's had some brush-ins with let's say waste management.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
there's a theme song, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. So
right. Okay,
Jerry Anthony. So many stories from the 5 boroughs in New York City. So many. Getting told by a made guy, "You're dead," when I told the buyer not to buy the house because every fucking beam was hit. I'm running to a payphone to tell my boss. He says, "Just wait in the truck." And then a car pulls up and 2 goons get out, talk to the owner, pointing at me. And then after watching 15 minutes, 2 guys walk over to me and say, "Hey, this is your lucky day, kid. Get the fuck out of here before he changes his mind." And he goes, "I think my old boss was connected, but I never asked." That was probably a smart thing to do, is to never ask. So,
don't ask, don't tell.
That's right. Yeah, Jerry, you totally dodged a bullet on this one, because you would have been sleeping with the fishes with Luca Brasi and Salvatore Big Pussy Bompancero.
Find the horse head in your fucking bed.
Oh yeah, I mean, that could have gone so many different ways, man. I mean, you could have just been in a world of hurt.
But they walked up and said, "Hey, yo, get the fuck out of here!" And you got the fuck out of here.
Don't you kick me in the fucking head?
In the fucking head.
Let's kick me in the fucking head. Okay.
I fucking love that show.
Oh yeah, man, I miss it. Did you catch the prequel? What was it? Saints of Newark.
I've seen it. I've seen it advertised, and I'm considering it right now. I'm waiting for tomorrow night for the next episode of The Last of Us.
That's okay.
Really fucking good.
Yeah. Well, as far as the Angels of Newark, don't waste your fucking time.
Well, have you seen Tulsa King?
Mm-mm.
Oh, that's fucking worth it.
But to go back for a previous episode, I did watch that '90s show.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It sucked.
You can't come back to something like that.
It's like did the guy that plays Red Foreman, did he have a stroke or something? I was wondering.
Well, he's fucking ancient.
Yeah, and what Donna has done to her face since she left since they canceled that '70s show, I don't know what's going on, but she's scaring me, Jack.
Well, I liked her in Orange is the New Black as the lesbian lover of the main character of the show. That was kind of fun.
So did I.
Just to see them kissing, that was worth the price.
No, Orange was just a good show altogether.
Yeah,
that was a damn good show. We binged on that one a couple of years ago. Yeah. Let's see, Jackie Valencia. She goes, I'm on my 20th year in the industry. Yes, there are these little books that get me to and from in the event my signal or GPS is lost. We live in a rural area. I call them maps. It amazes me how many people can't follow or read a map.
That's true.
Or even heard of Rand McNally. Tired of text calling me when they get lost because I am always ready. That's a good point.
I used to route all my technicians when I was using Pest Pack.
Mm-hmm.
I would route them all based on ADC map coordinates.
Uh-huh.
Like today, you're in Prince William County, page 5 and 6. And, H5, H6, H9, you start routing them based on where they're on the grid and kind of follow it along to make the route make sense. But yeah, before all this GPS, I remember getting my first TomTom. I thought I hit the fucking lottery.
Yeah. I saved up a bunch of, we would get safety reward points. I believe they're called right rewards at the Big Green Tea. And I saved all mine up and got a Garmin. And I thought it was just like state of the art, but the screen was like 2 inches in diameter or 2 inches diagonal. It had a little wheel that you had to scroll everything. No touch screen. It was black and white. It would make these weird noises when you were supposed to take a turn, like or something like that. And it's like they just had like a little bug in there, just like go And
it's like the Flintstones.
I know, like a little bird, carving out the, with a chisel carving out the map. And but yeah, hey, dude, it helped until I almost drove into a lake trying to follow out what it said. But yeah, you young people have no idea how good you have it now.
I had this fucking tech that said he couldn't find the house. I'm like, why? He's like, well, the GPS is telling me to stop right here at this one place, and that's not where the house is. I'm like, dude, you're on the fucking street. Count the house numbers.
Uh-huh.
And he was expecting the GPS to take him right to the fucking driveway. And I'm like, that's not how it works, man.
Oh, yeah, no shit.
It got you to the general location. Start looking at mailboxes.
Yeah. I had one of those map books for Indianapolis. I had, my glove box was just packed to the brim with maps of the different county maps. And all that shit. And you know what? It still didn't help me for a majority of the stuff. It's like rural route 1, box 208. The fuck is that? You had to, on the ticket, they had to actually print the, the instruction, the directions on how to get there. It's like, get off 465 at the Brandywine Road exit, go over here, turn left at the Dead Cow, and so it's just so much better nowadays. It's like, it's definitely, if you can't find something in this day and age, there's two things that's wrong. Either the mapping software has got a glitch in it somewhere and it's not tapping right, or you're just a fucking idiot.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt if it's a brand new development. It's not on the updated maps yet. I've seen that happen. Like they have Google didn't update or something like that, and it's like you drive by a neighborhood and like there's no fucking street here. Yeah, I've had to wander neighborhoods to find the right street, but at least you're in the right area. I mean, look at the fucking mailboxes, people, and I want to see a show of hands. How many people don't know how to read a map?
Oh, none of us.
Oh, shit.
If Danny was here, he would raise his hand probably, because he's young. He's young, virile, vigorous, potent, blah blah blah. I gotta agree with you on that, except for it'll get you in the general vicinity. If a new housing addition, the road may end on the map, but if there's more road ahead, odds are it's up there. Give it a try, and if that doesn't work, call the customer and. But do that as a last resort, because that always gives them an excuse that, maybe I don't want, maybe I just need to reschedule today. And you're like 2 blocks from their fucking house. So,
and you spend all that time trying to fucking find them.
Exactly. Yeah. I'd rather roll a window down and ask somebody that's walking their dog for, directions to it before I'll call the customer. So I don't get that, if you finally get there and knock on their door and you're actually on their porch, most of the time they'll let you go ahead and do the service. But if you call them before you get there, they got an out. And
if you got to ask somebody, ask a fucking mailman. They know.
Oh yeah, ask them.
Ask the man.
Yeah, ask a mailman. That's right. And they'll be more than happy to help you. Let's get one more in here. Henry Davis III. This guy is salty as fuck. I love it. He's like, I had 2 1-gallon B&G sprayers, one for inside and one for outside. No backpacks then. Inside product of choice was, oh my God, Saffreton. Came in a single-use tiny glass bottle. Saffreton is a close second to orthene and the most disgusting smelling shit out there.
What, it come in ampules? It came like little ampules?
It did, yes. And then he goes on to say that he had to rinse every little bottle out 3 times. And termite work, that meant one side of every wall was drilled along with the exterior in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
Bald face hornet nest, bee suit. Yeah, right. That was for pussies. grab your PT 230 dust, run up on it, spray the entrance of the nest, quickly slam the treating straw through the nest and give it a couple quick bursts of 230 and stand back and watch them die.
Now,
knock it down, spray the crap out of it, and pray you don't get stung.
Well, and you learn a lot about an old school guy when they say that. Because, well, first of all, in my 26 years, I only wore a bee suit twice. But once for me. You stand there. That's the key. What if you get them riled up? You start moving around, you're done for. You fucking stand still.
Okay.
Be a tree, because as far as they're concerned, if you're not moving, that's what the fuck you are. Yeah. Just hit it and stand back and watch. Yeah. Don't run, don't swat, don't nothing. Dumbass.
Yeah. But what I'm about to say, as far as like yellow jackets and things like that, Pest Control Humor Depot, Tales from the Crawl Space podcast, Brad Harvey, Jack Starry, and Danny Harrell do not officially endorse this method. Please use discretion when applying anything to a stinging insect nest. Okay, now that that's out of the way. The one thing I learned when I first started this business, I started out of necessity because, my daughter's diaper was full. Needed diapers. But anyway, I digress. Back then, I was scared of everything. Cockroaches, rats, stinging insects, and all that other good shit. But I took this gig because I needed the money. And I eventually fell in love with it. One of the things I've learned over that, especially when dealing with things like yellow jackets, and even honeybees that are unretrievable by a beekeeper that you just going to have to go ahead and take care of business, is not to fear them, but to respect their behavior. And you've got to know their behavior. Yellow jackets will have a pattern. You see them as an example. You'll see a yellow jacket entry point where they're going in and out. A bunch of them are going in and out of this little hole and whatnot. If you wait long enough, which is only going to take you a couple of minutes, you're going to notice a lull in the action where nothing is going in and out of that thing. And that lull usually lasts anywhere from 10 to 12 seconds. Yep. Okay. When you get that pattern developed and you see exactly what the pattern is, that's when you make your move. Personally, I prefer a pressurized duster, like the Birchmeyer, and with a good, it's got, I've got one with about a 2-3 foot extension on it. Pump that dude up, get it up to steam, and wait. And then once you see that pattern show up again where they're all, make your move. You get in there, you blast it for a couple seconds, you get out, you stand back, and you watch the fun. They're going to be, looks like a bunch of cocaine encrusted yellow jackets come flying out of there, dropping pretty quick. And then, you got to let the customer know what's going on. Again, this is going to take a couple days for it to die off. Please stay away from the nest until then. If after the 4th day, you're still seeing activity, give us a call. That means we didn't get enough in there, but we got your back. We'll take care of it.
Oh, flying, stinging insect jobs are my absolute favorite.
Oh, mine too. I get such a nut on those. Yeah. And I've only worn a bee suit once in my career. I'm not afraid of them, but I try to learn their behavior and I respect their behavior and I don't try to deviate them from that because that's when you get fucked.
My one bee suit that was an absolute necessity. Once I had to wear it because I had a big wig with me on the job and I had to go through all the motions. But it was in an attic way back in the corner where the gable of the roof was coming down to meet the attic floor. So it was like jammed up in the corner and half the nest was outside and half of it was inside the attic. Mm-hmm. And you'd have to crawl to get to it. And so there would have been no way I could have got out of there quick enough. If things went sideways. So I was like, I gotta wear a bee suit for this because there's a good chance I'm gonna get fucked. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's the one time I felt it absolutely necessary to wear it. But other than that, I haven't because, like I say, if you know their habits and you don't. If you're confident enough and you know what's going on, you can generally get the job done without having to do it. But like we said, if your company tells you to wear a bee suit, you gotta wear a bee suit for your protection, for everybody else's protection. And, we don't condone you doing things that could get you hurt. I'm just saying from my personal experience,
right?
I found myself to be able to move around a bit better and get my job done more effectively without those thick-ass gloves on that you can't even feel what the hell you're holding.
Thank you. Exactly. I feel the same way about it. So anyway, man, a lot of good stuff covered today.
Yeah.
Looks like we, thank you once again to all you cheese bags that contributed to our show today with your stories. Keep them coming. It definitely helps us. Definitely helps us fill an hour of shooting the shit when you do.
Oh yeah. I got to tell you, we put a merch store up this past week. We put a merch store up with Tales from the Crawl Space stuff and Pest Control Humor Depot stuff, and all the proceeds are going for Randy and his GoFundMe campaign. Now, we've sold some things, but if you don't want to get some cool swag to wear, which that's the first time I've ever used swag in the sentence, I think I'm going to have to shoot myself for saying that now.
You're saying secretly we are gay.
Yeah, but if you don't want a cool Pest Control Humor Depot t-shirt, hoodie, hat, bat, patch, whatever, stickers, or Tales from the Crawl Space, go to Randy's GoFundMe. Help the guy out. Mm-hmm. He's still fighting his ass off to beat this shit. But, you can get something cool to wear in the process. We're up to $44, which I wish it was a lot more to be able to give to Randy. So, guys, Check us out. Go to tftc.wtf, hit the little 3-line hamburger menu in the top corner, and go to store. It'll take you right to our merch page that has both Pest Control Humor Depot and Tales from the Crawl Space shirts, hoodies, all kinds of stuff.
Thanks, Jack. And as always, this show is dedicated to Randy Struther. Let's do our part to help get him behind this. Once he gets to feeling better and is back in the swing of things, we're going to start another GoFundMe, and it's going to be called "Let's Get Dani Better Bandwidth." And
yes.
So y'all heard that Dani was on the podcast earlier. Things have happened. He's had some technical difficulties and had to drop off. So Dani, hope to hear back from you again soon. And we're just we're looking forward to you getting some better bandwidth, and we'll be there for you once we take care of Randy Struther.
Oh yeah, and don't forget everybody, we're at Crawl Space Tales at Twitter, TFTC Podcast on Instagram, TFTC 2.0 on TikTok, and you can always find us at the Pest Control Humor Depot page.
That's right, Jack. So let's talk. Any ideas for next time?
I have absolutely none whatsoever. I can see if I can get our office manager, my former office manager, on Shelly. Maybe I can get her on. We got some good Dani and Marie stories.
We could do, Shelly. Dani had a guy, I believe, that he was interested in maybe getting on. I've got some guests as well. We talked about old school pest control. We also want to do eventually try to do one about the history of pest control as well. We made some fun, talking about us in the Stone Ages, but it goes way back farther than that. And Dani's working on that, I believe, and so we're looking forward to that episode as well. And in the meantime, if you guys have some ideas for episodes, let's hear about them. Contact us through all the other, through the ways that Jack just mentioned. Of course, there's the one, the only Pest Control Humor Depot, which, by the way, we hit 7,000 members this week. So
hell yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining PCHD. We're happy to have you. And, never in a million years did I think it was going to be as big as it is. And I got all you fucking cheese bags to thank for that.
Fuck yeah. And give us some good ideas, because we're trying to find the proper balance between education and fuckery. So, we always have to make sure there's a little fuckery in there with education.
Yeah. But there's no fuckery. There's no really good fuckery without Dani. So hopefully he'll make it back.
That's right. Love you, Dani.
Love you, Dani. So, on behalf of everyone at Pest Control Humor Depot, Tales from the Crawl Space podcast, bug the hell off.
Bug off. Thanks for listening to Tales from the Crawl Space podcast. You can find us on just about every single podcast outlet there is online. So be sure to subscribe, and we'll have a new episode next week. Don't forget, you can find us on Instagram at TFTC Podcast, on Twitter at Crawl Space Tales, and you can also find us on Facebook at the Pest Control Humor Depot. See you next week.